readers, my name is Liz and today we're going to be talking about Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. We were supposed to read this in 10th grade, and then we got like about 20 pages in and most of the class didn't understand it or they didn't have the patience for it, and so we dropped it, and then not until now did I pick it back up and actually read it and found out that it's a very, very, very good book. Not that I had too many doubts beforehand. So this is a story about a guy named Guy Montag, and he is a firefighter or fireman. I think it's a fireman, and instead of putting out fires, he actually burns things for a living. Books, to be exact. Many books. And through a, chain of events, he starts realizing that this isn't such a good thing to be involved in. He finds that he actually has thoughts and opinions, and he actually wants to read, and he wants to, formulate opinions in his mind and not just be, sitting in front of the walls, in front of these TVs that they have in their houses. He doesn't want to mindlessly be burning books for the sake of burning books. He doesn't really know why. They don't really explain why they kind of explain why they're burning books, but the people don't seem to really understand why they're burning books, other than, oh, books are stupid. Books are, very simple-minded. And I like this right here. This is a part that I wasn't able to read the other day, but colored people don't like Little Black Sambo. Burn it. White people don't feel good about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Burn it. Someone's written a book on tobacco and cancer of the lungs. So the cigarette people are weeping. I can't read. Burn the book. Serenity, Montag. Peace, Montag. You take your fight outside. Better yet, into the incinerator. And so pretty much saying, if he wants to fight this, he might as well just die, because people are just going to be offended by books, and that's just that. I don't think as a society we'll ever get to that point where we will actually burn tons and tons and tons of books like that, but I do think that book banning is a dangerous thing. It's kind of like a metaphor for that, you're burning all this knowledge and you're burning all these experiences. When I read the passage from page 83, it talked about the books being living things and being, these living experiences pretty much. And that's what I think of books. It's just it's somebody's experiences. Having that imagination does a lot for us. I feel like I feel like you can. We've been learning about this in the philosophy of aesthetics. That's the class that I'm taking this semester, and we talk a lot about right now we're talking about catharsis, the purging of emotions, and I feel like books can do that as well as plays. Plays are usually the ultimate example of movies and things like that, but in books you can also go through catharsis through somebody maybe with a similar circumstance than you are in, and they go through this horrible thing and they get out of it, and you're kind of like, oh, I can get over that, I can get out of it. Guy Montag decides that he doesn't really like this whole book burning thing, and he starts collecting his own books, and it just kind of continues on the cycle, and he just his life gets really, really crazy. This is definitely not one of those books that has a finite ending that would be yeah, and at the end he owned a big library, because that would probably be a good ending for this book. But instead it's just kind of him moving along and him surviving with these other guys, these Harvard doctorates. I found it very interesting that these Harvard doctorates and things like that, they're the Harvard graduates, and a big Ivy League schools, that they kind of memorize books. They had the books in their brain, when I think his name is Granger. He introduces Guy to all the other men in the group, and he says, this guy, if you need to know about this book in the Bible, he's this, and this guy, he knows this book, and that. And I was just like, geez, you'd have to read that book a lot of times, but I'm sure if you only have a limited amount of books, you would memorize those books. I really hope, but I also don't think that it'll ever get to this point, but if it does, we know what it'll look like. The reason why I say I don't think it'll get there, because we still, even though we have, we put more, we invest more in technology as far as computers and the e-readers and stuff like that, but we're still reading. I feel like we're still a reading society. I like the difference how he wasn't really thriving, but they were both very oppressed by society, and you could tell at the beginning of the book how he was just like, oh, I'm gonna go to work now, honey. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go drink a lot of pills. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I noticed that this video is very just like scatterbrained, but really, this book is good. I really enjoyed it. Even though it was written in the 1950s, it's very good as far as, I guess, dystopian nowadays, that's what we would call it. Back in its day, I think they called it sci-fi just because it's about the future. It's not necessarily about any sort of like time traveling or anything like that, but it just touches base on, you know, what is literature, why is literature good for us actually, and things like that. Why is poetry good? It's kind of like the total opposite of Plato and his talks about why poetry is bad for us. So it's kind of Ray Bradbury saying, Plato, you're probably not so right. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this book a lot, and I hope you all pick it up, whether it be on Banned Book Week or any other time, especially if you're interested in reading more about banned books and why it is so ugly and bad. So I hope you have a great day and keep reading banned books.